And today I have a lesson for you on connecting major scales. I'm going to give you some cool exercises on how you can learn maybe some new shapes for major scales, but more importantly, how you can attach them and how you can move over the entire neck in a series of major scales in a connection exercise. So this is invaluable because major scales are so important because, like most scales, they're the building blocks to licks and melodies, right? And major scales are awesome to play because you get that sweet major sound, as well as major scales, that's the elemental constant. That's what everything refers back to, the major scale in music theory. And if you know your major scales across the neck, right, you know pretty much you have a good handle on the modes of the major scale. Then it just becomes all about applications. And I hope this starts to give you that fretboard vision. So you could start seeing the neck as one big scale, one big opportunity. Because, so many students, they know like a major scale here and maybe one here, in a couple of positions, a couple of shapes. You want to see the totality of the entire neck, right? And then use those scales as the architecture to build your licks and ideas and riffs and melodies. So let's attack these major scales in the key of C. So we'll be in C major. It's a good key to practice these in because it's the only major key with no sharps or flats, right? So there's no accidentals to worry about. So the notes in a C major scale are just C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Right? That's that do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, so let's start here on the 3rd fret of the A string. That's our C note, and let's play this major scale. And keep in mind too, there's lots of different ways to play major scales. I'm just going to show you some ways that make these connections very easy. We're going to slide into them. But there's a lot of different ways that you could learn this. So here's the first C major scale. And we're going to end up on this high C on the 8th fret of the high E string. Right, so get that one under your fingers. Maybe play it like with an 8th note feel, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then you might want to play it with like a swing feel. Right, the doo-ba 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 doo-ba. And then you could play it with hammer-ons. Okay, get that under your fingers. Ascending and descending. But what we're going to do is when we get up to the high part of the scale on the high E string, now when we're on the high E string and our last note, we're going to slide up a whole step. And we're going to do this again in the position after this next one. So just remember, high E string, whole step slide. So we're going to slide from the 8th fret C to the 10th fret D, and then we're going to play here's the next major scale shape, and then I'll show you how we'll connect them. And there's our C note on the 8th fret of the low E string. So important, know where your C notes or your root notes are in whatever scale you're playing. Here they are in the first scale. Right? And then we have these. And sometimes it helps to see these scales drawn out on paper, and I can help you with that. Click in the link in the YouTube's description box below, and I'll send you a free killer ebook I put together that has these major scales diagrammed out across the whole neck, tons of other scales diagrammed across the whole neck, as well as in that ebook there's tons of lessons on soloing strategies and music theory, and also there's lessons on modal playing and modal application, how you can start applying major scales to get to the modes of the major scales. Application, musical context, it's all in there. I'll send you that and a free video lesson. So take advantage of it. It's really cool. It's a resource, that ebook, that you'll use throughout your guitar journey. So this scale again. Okay, so here's how we'll connect the two of them together. Here's the first shape. Okay, so when we're on that high E string, whole step slide, 2 frets. And you descend down this new shape, and then when you get to the low E string on that B note, use your first finger to go up a half a step, and then we'll find the C. That's an important note. That major 7th is always a half a step below the root. In this instance, it's B, going B to C. And then we're going to play this C major shape. Get that one under your belt, right? So if we connect the 3 of them, Okay, now we're up here on our 13th fret F note on the high E string, and what do we do on that high E string is we slide up a whole step, right, to the 15th fret, our G note, and then we're going to play this shape. And we're going to end on the C on the A string, 15th fret, right? So again, what you're doing is you're sliding up that whole step. We got to kind of go back to because I want you to end on that C note with your first finger again, because guess what? We're going to do another one. So far the exercise looks like this. Slide up whole step with the pinky. Play the second shape. First finger on the C note, low E string, next shape. High E string, whole step, slide up again. Descend down and go back up to that C note, first fret on the first finger, 15th fret, and then when you get there, we're going to play this same shape we did first, except it's one octave higher. Remember we were at the 3rd fret? Now we're at that 15th fret, so just play the same exact thing, and we'll end on the high C. Look at this, we've covered the entire fretboard in major scales, going, you know, ascending up, descending down, right? Ascending up, descending down, ascending up, and you're learning these shapes. And then once you know the shapes, obviously, when you're playing and jamming, you're not going to be playing the scale, every single note in the scale from root to root, because it'll sound very sterile. But again, this is the architecture you want to have down, because then it's going to make the licks easy, as I'm going to show you in the next lesson when we apply this and learn some licks. So here's the whole exercise. Notice, and on that high C note at the 20th fret. And when you get up to the top of those scales, and you're sliding, you know, slide twice sometimes. Just start to hear what some riffs will start to sound like, right? Just to break up the boredom of learning scales, you know, practice them, like I said, with your 8th notes, practice them with a swing feel, practice them with hammer-ons. You could also like practice doing pull-off licks. Right, hammer-ons and pull-offs within the scale. You'll get tons of lick ideas will start coming to you, and kind of resolve between that B to the C, that major 7, because that's great resolution to our root note. So there's a nice layout of major scales across the entire fretboard. So enjoy that exercise, work those scales up. Thanks so much for tuning in. We so appreciate your support over the years. Thank you so much. And remember, your guitar playing is an evolution. Take care and rock on.